What's up? I'm Lily. Revenge Crown brings you the stories that keep you hooked. If that sounds good, smash subscribe and let's go. The air in my parents' dining room smelled like turkey and my mother's perfume. The kind that's impossible to breathe through, sweet enough to choke on. She was wearing the cream cashmere sweater she'd bought with my credit card 3 months ago. I knew because I'd seen the statement, $340 at Nordstrom. She'd texted me a photo of it with a single word, perfect. My sister Olivia sat across from me, her engagement ring catching the light. I was 29. Olivia was 26. For as long as I could remember, I'd been the hinge that made everything move, the resource. When Olivia wanted a bigger bedroom at 14 because she was afraid of the dark, I gave mine up. When she needed a car at 16, Mom and Dad cosigned for her. When I needed one at 17, I worked double shifts at Target and bought my own. Used Honda, stick shift. It rattled when it rained. You've always been so independent, Mom had said then, smiling that rehearsed smile, the one like rearranging napkins. We're so proud of you. Independent meant invisible. It meant expected to handle everything myself, while Olivia got handled. My father cleared his throat from the head of the table. He believed silence fixed things. That if nobody said the uncomfortable part out loud, it would dissolve like sugar in tea. He was staring at his plate now, cutting his turkey into precise, small pieces. Emma, you understand, don't you? Mom continued. Her voice had that particular tone, the one that sounded like a question, but wasn't. Your sister's business idea is wonderful. A boutique consulting firm for small businesses. She has such vision, Olivia beamed. It's actually already generating interest. I have 3 potential clients. Potential, that word that meant nothing and everything. The way Olivia said it, you'd think she'd signed contracts with Fortune 500 companies. What she actually had was a Wix website and an Instagram account with 847 followers, most of them bots. That's exciting, I said. My voice was flat, even. I took a sip of water. So you're okay with it? Mom asked. Still that smile. Still that perfume. With what, exactly? The $50,000. We're transferring it from the account for her business launch. Startup costs, marketing, that sort of thing. She said it like it was already done. Like my opinion was a formality. Something to check off a list. Get Emma to agree. Or at least not disagree loud enough to matter. The account. She meant the joint account. The one they'd put my name on when I turned 18. To build your credit, Dad had said. It's important to establish a banking relationship early. What they'd actually done was tie me to every financial decision they made, for 11 years. Every mortgage payment on this house, the one we were sitting in right now, came from that account. Every car payment for Mom's Lexus, every utility bill, every credit card balance. And every dollar in that account, mine, my deposits. My paycheck from my job as a senior software developer at a tech firm in Seattle. The job my family knew almost nothing about because they'd never asked. They thought I did something with computers. They thought I made maybe $50,000 a year. They had no idea I pulled in $180,000 plus bonuses. They had no idea that I've been systematically documenting every payment, every withdrawal, every transfer for 3 years. They had no idea that 6 months ago, my therapist had asked me one question that changed everything. Who would struggle if you disappeared tomorrow? The answer had been immediate and obvious. They would, not me. Emma? Mom's voice had an edge now. Impatient. You're being quiet. I'm thinking, I said. Don't overthink it, Olivia said, laughing. That light, dismissive laugh she'd perfected. God, you always overthink everything. It's just money. Family helps family. Just money. Just the money I'd earned. Just the money that had been paying for their lives while they called me practical and independent and responsible. Euphemisms for exploited. My phone buzzed in my lap. A text from Martin, my bank manager. I'd sent him a message 10 minutes ago, right after Mom announced the $50,000 transfer like it was a done deal. Martin, ready when you are. Say the word and I implement Protocol Gray. Protocol Gray. We'd established it 4 months ago, sitting in his office at the bank. I'd brought my documentation, 3 years of bank statements, payment records, deposit slips. I'd shown him how my name was on every account. How I was the primary holder, not a cosigner. How they'd been using my money for over a decade. They think the accounts are family accounts, I'd told him. They think they have equal access. Martin had looked at the statements for a long time. Then he'd looked at me. Miss Chun, these are your accounts. You're the sole owner. They're authorized users which you can revoke at any time. I want to be ready, I'd said.
In case I need to act quickly, he'd nodded.
We'll call it Protocol Gray. You text me the word implement, and within 10 minutes all authorized users are removed. All cards frozen. All standing transfers cancelled. Clean break. I'd thanked him. I'd left his office. I'd gone home to my apartment, the apartment my family had never visited. Because it was so far from family, and I'd sat on my couch and cried for 20 minutes. Not sad crying. Relief crying. The kind that comes when you realize you've been holding your breath for years. Now, at Thanksgiving dinner, I looked at my phone screen, at Martin's message. At the word implement waiting to be typed. Emma, seriously, Olivia said. Stop being weird about this. I'm not being weird. You're being jealous, she said. Her voice was light, teasing, but her eyes weren't. Don't be jealous just because you're broke. The room went still. My father's fork stopped moving. My mother's smile flickered, just for a second before resetting itself. Olivia, Mom said, but she was laughing a little, softening the blow. Your sister isn't broke. I mean, compared to where she could be, Olivia continued. She was on a roll now, emboldened by Mom's laugh. You're almost 30 and you still rent. You drive a 10-year-old car. You shop at Target. I'm just saying, maybe if you'd taken a few more risks. Tried a little harder. Olivia, Dad said. Quiet. Warning. But Olivia kept going. I'm sorry, but it's true. Emma plays it safe. She always has. That's fine, but don't act like family helping family is some big deal when you've never really needed help anyway. Never needed help. I'd paid their mortgage for 6 years. I'd paid off Mom's credit cards twice. I'd covered Olivia's car insurance for 4 years running because she forgot to pay and didn't want it to lapse. I'd sent money for emergency home repairs, for medical bills, for Dad's fishing trip to Alaska, for Mom's book club wine fund. I'd been helping so long I'd forgotten what it felt like not to. My phone was still in my lap. My thumb was on the keyboard. You're right, I said. My voice didn't shake. I've never really needed help. See? Olivia looked at Mom triumphantly. She gets it. I typed one word. Implement. I sent it. I looked up. I smiled. Small, calm, dangerous. The $50,000 transfer, I said. When were you planning to do it? Tomorrow morning, Mom said. She looked relieved that I was engaging now, not being weird. I'll go to the bank first thing and… You won't need to go to the bank, I said. What do you mean? I mean it's already done. Well, not the transfer. The opposite of the transfer, Mom's smile faltered. Emma, what are you talking about? My phone buzzed. Martin's reply. Protocol Gray implemented. All authorizations revoked. Cards frozen. They'll be notified within the hour. You're clear. I set my phone face down on the table. I'm talking about the accounts. The joint accounts. The ones you've been using for the last 11 years. Yes? Mom's voice was careful now, uncertain. They're not joint accounts. They're my accounts. My name is on them because I opened them. You're authorized users. We're authorized users. Past tense. As of about 3 minutes ago, the color started draining from Mom's face, inch by inch. Like watching a video in slow motion? What did you do? Her voice was soft. Shocked. I removed your access. To my accounts. That I own. That I've been funding for over a decade. Olivia laughed. Actually laughed. That's not possible. Those are family accounts. No, I said. My voice was steady, matter of fact. They're my accounts. I have the documentation. Every bank statement. Every deposit slip. Every payment receipt. Would you like to see them? I pulled a folder from my bag. I brought it with me, just in case. I'd known, on some level, that today would be the day. Maybe it was the casual cruelty of, you're broke. Maybe it was Olivia's dismissive laugh. Maybe it was just time. I spread the statements across the table, covering the turkey platter, the gravy boat, the stuffing. Here's the mortgage payment. My father was staring at the papers like they were written in a foreign language. His face was gray. Emma, sweetheart, Mom started. Here's the credit card statement from March. $8,000 charge at Diamonds Direct. Olivia's engagement ring. My card, here's the Nordstrom charge from August. Your cashmere sweater. My card, here's the vacation to Maui last year. $6,000, my money. We thought, Dad's voice cracked. We thought the accounts were family accounts? I finished. That's what you called them. But they weren't. They were my accounts that you had access to. Access I gave you when I was 18 because you told me it would help my credit. And then you just kept using them. For everything. For over a decade. Olivia's face had gone from confused to pale to something like panic. But I can't pay my rent without that account. Yes, I said. I know. Emma, you can't just... Mom's voice was rising now, losing its careful modulation. You can't just cut us off like this, after everything we've done for you. Please, I said, and my smile was dry and low. Itemize what you've done for me. Because I have receipts for what I've done for you. Silence. The kind that rings. When I was 17, I said, I worked 50-hour weeks to buy my first car. When Olivia was 16, you cosigned for hers. When I needed money for community college, you told me to take out loans. When Olivia wanted to go to state school, you said you'd figure it out. I paid off my loans last year. All $40,000 of them. By myself. We did the best we could, Dad said. His voice was barely audible. No, I said. You did what was easiest. You took and called it sharing. You exploited and called it family. And when I finally say no, you call me jealous? My phone started buzzing. Once, twice, 3 times. Mom's phone rang. She looked at the screen. It's the bank. They're calling to inform you that your cards have been declined, I said. All of them. The credit cards, the debit cards, everything linked to my accounts. It's all frozen. You can't do this. Olivia's voice was shrill now. You can't just... I already did, Mom answered her phone. I watched her face as she listened to the bank representative explain that she was no longer an authorized user. That her access had been revoked by the account holder. That her cards were canceled. She hung up. She looked at me. For the first time in my entire life, I saw my mother look uncertain. Emma, please, can we talk about this reasonably? I've been reasonable for 11 years. This is what unreasonable looks like. What about the mortgage? Dad asked. His voice was shaking. What about it? The payment is due in 5 days. Yes, I said.
It is. We can't... He stopped, started again.
We don't have enough in our account to cover it. Then I suggest you figure it out. You're both employed. You have income. You've just been spending it on other things because you knew I'd cover the mortgage. We'll lose the house, Mom whispered. You might, I agreed. Or you might make the payment. Or you might call the bank and work out a payment plan. Or you might downsize. Lots of options. None of them involve me. Olivia was scrolling frantically through her phone. My card just declined. I was trying to order an Uber and it declined. Yes, I said. That would be because it's my card. That you've been using. How am I supposed to get home? The same way everyone else does. Your own money. Your fiancé's money. The bus. Lots of options. You're being cruel, Mom said. Her voice was ice now. The shock was wearing off, replaced by anger. This is cruel and petty and... Petty? I laughed once, dry. Low. I paid your bills for over a decade and you called me practical. I say no one time and you call me petty. That's very telling, Mom. We're your family, she said. Family asks, I replied. Family doesn't assume. Family doesn't take and take and take and then call you broke when you re the only one keeping everything afloat. I stood up. I gathered my folder of documents. I put on my coat. Where are you going? Dad asked. Home, to my apartment, the one I pay for. With my money. Emma, please, Mom's voice broke. Actually broke. Please don't do this. We can talk. We can figure something out. We can't, I said. Because figuring something out to you means me continuing to fund your lives while you dismiss mine. I'm done. You'll regret this, Olivia said. Her voice was hard, threatening. I already did, I said. For years, every time I transferred money, every time I paid a bill, every time I said yes when I wanted to say no. I regret all of that. This? I gestured at the table, the scattered bank statements, their shocked faces. This I won't regret. I walked to the door. My hand was on the knob when Dad spoke. Emma, sweetheart, after everything, you'd really do this? You'd really just walk away? I turned. I looked at him. At all of them. You have no idea how much I've already given you, I said. And that's the saddest part. You took so much you didn't even notice it was gone. I left. I drove home in my 10-year-old car that rattled when it rained. I drove past the big houses with their perfect lawns, past the shopping centers, past the life I'd been funding. My phone started buzzing before I even got to the highway. Mom calling. I declined. Olivia calling. I declined. Dad texting. Can we please talk about this? I didn't reply. By the time I got home, I had 23 missed calls. By midnight, it was 47. By morning, it was 92. I didn't answer any of them. I sat in my apartment, my quiet, peaceful apartment, and I opened a bottle of wine. I put on music. I breathed. For the first time in 11 years, I breathed without the weight of their expectations pressing down on my chest. My phone kept buzzing. I turned it off. The next morning, I turned it back on to 15 voicemails. Voicemail 1. Mom, 7 p.m. Thanksgiving night. Emma, please call me back. I don't understand why you're doing this. We're family. We can work this out. Voicemail 4. Olivia, 9:30 p.m. My card was declined at dinner. This is so embarrassing. Please fix this. Voicemail 8. Dad, 11 p.m. Emma, your mother is very upset. Can you please just call and we'll discuss this calmly? Voicemail 12. Mom, 2 a.m. I can't sleep. I keep thinking about what you said. Maybe we could have communicated better. Please call me. Voicemail 15. Olivia, 6 a.m. Friday. Emma, I'm serious. I have bills due. My rent is due Monday. You can't just do this. Please call me back. I deleted them all. I texted Martin. Thank you. I need one more thing. Can you send me a letter confirming account ownership and the freeze? Martin. Already done. Sent to your email an hour ago. Legal documentation included. You're fully protected. I forwarded the letter to my personal email. I saved 3 copies. I printed one. Then I sent one text. To the family group chat. I've been paying for my own dismissal for over a decade. Help isn't theft and love isn't access. Figure it out? I left the group chat. I blocked all their numbers. 1 week later, I was sitting in my favorite coffee shop when my phone rang from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up.
Emma-chan, a woman's voice. Yes, this is Patricia Hammond.
I'm your Aunt Linda's sister-in-law. I got your number from your mother? Aunt Linda's sister-in-law. Extended family. I braced myself. I'm calling because your mother reached out to several family members this week. She said you had some kind of breakdown and cut them off financially. That's not what happened, I said. I didn't think so, Patricia said. Your mother doesn't lie, exactly, but she arranges facts like furniture until they look the way she wants. So I called your bank. I know Martin. We went to high school together. Oh, he couldn't give me details, obviously. But he said, and I quote, Emma-chan is one of the most financially responsible clients I've ever worked with, and any narrative suggesting otherwise is fiction. I didn't say anything. I also called your old boss from Target. Remember Janet? She remembered you. She said you worked full-time while taking classes and saved every penny for that car. She said your mother came in once and tried to guilt you into giving your paycheck to your sister for some emergency. She said you stood your ground. She was proud of you. My eyes were burning. Emma, I don't know exactly what happened at Thanksgiving, but I know your mother. I know how she operates. And I want you to know that not everyone in this family thinks you're wrong. Thank you, I whispered. You don't owe anyone your peace, Patricia said. Especially not people who call taking it back cruelty, she hung up. I sat in that coffee shop for an hour, staring at my coffee, watching it go cold. 2 weeks later, Olivia's Instagram went quiet. The photos of her boutique consulting firm disappeared. The engagement ring photos disappeared. The fiancé disappeared. I heard through another cousin that Olivia had to move back in with mom and dad, that her fiancé had left when he realized she was broke, that the ring had been returned to the jeweler, that her car got repossessed because she couldn't make the payments. I heard that mom and dad had to take out a home equity loan to cover their bills, that they'd sold mom's Lexus and bought a used Honda, that they'd canceled their vacation plans. I heard that Olivia got a job at a call center, that she worked evenings and weekends, that she was finally learning what real work looks like. I didn't feel triumphant. I didn't feel vindicated. I felt free. A month after Thanksgiving, I was sitting on my balcony, drinking tea, watching the rain. My phone was next to me, silent, peaceful. I thought about all the years I'd spent being practical and responsible and independent, all the words they'd used to make exploitation sound like compliment. I thought about the therapist who'd asked, "Who would struggle if you disappeared?" I thought about Martin saying, "These are your accounts." I thought about Patricia saying, "You don't owe anyone your peace." The phone that didn't ring anymore wasn't a loss. It was a gain. Every silent hour was a gift. Every morning I woke up without their demands was a morning that belonged to me. I'd been paying for my own dismissal, funding the very system that diminished me, financing the family that called me broke while spending my money. And now I wasn't. My bank account was mine. My money was mine. My time was mine. My peace was mine. For the first time in my adult life, I looked at my budget and thought, what do I want? Not what do they need, not how can I help, not how much can I give. What do I want? I wanted to travel. I booked a trip to Iceland. I wanted to invest. I opened an investment account. I wanted to stop living small. I started living actual. Freedom doesn't roar. It whispers. It settles. It shows up in the quiet moments when you realize you're not waiting for the other shoe to drop, for the next demand, for the next crisis you're expected to solve. Boundaries don't destroy families, they define them. And my family had just learned what being defined felt like. They'd spent years taking my yes for granted. Now they'd have to live with my no. I didn't owe them anything. Not my money. Not my guilt, not my peace. And somewhere between the 90-second call and the silent morning after, I finally believed it. If you've ever had to draw a line with someone who called it love, share your story below. You're not alone, and you don't owe anyone your peace.